Hi everyone, welcome back, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Erica and I live in the Pacific Northwest region of the United States, and this is my knitting podcast. So, trying to think where I want to start today. I think I'll start with the most exciting thing. I finished the pattern My Dream Cardigan by Wool and Beyond. Here it is. It's so pretty. I steeked this. This was my first time steeking, and I posted a video of me going on the steeking journey, so you can watch that if you want to, but I just want to finish showing you the details of it. So it's really, really, really pretty. And after steeking is when you attach the button band, as you can see here. And it's really, really clever the way she has you attach the button band, because on the inside, let's see, on the inside it covers all the steek stitches with this. So you knit this down and all the steek stitches are in here covered up, and it looks so neat and tidy because of that. And you do the same thing on the other side of the button band. So here you can see my buttons, and I chose some pearl buttons from my local Joann Fabrics. And then you can see where I knit over and covered all the steek stitches here. So it's super neat and tidy. And I also think that the collar looks really neat too on the inside. Just the way this is constructed is genius. It looks so well made and finished. I mean, I don't mean that like I did such a good job, but I just think the way Wool and Beyond, the designer, had really thought out everything for this cardigan, so the finishes would look really, really, really seamless and beautiful. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's so soft. It's knit in Knitting for Olive, merino, and their mohair held together. So it's super, super soft and squishy and warm. I can't wait until it cools off and I can start wearing this. And I want to make another one eventually. It did take a while since it's knit on 3.5mm needles. So not racing to make another one just yet, but I do want to make another one in the future. I'm thinking I might make another one later without mohair, so they're a little different. And I don't love adding mohair to every single thing that I knit, so I think that would be a good option. No mohair. But yeah, I'm so happy with how this turned out. Definitely recommend the pattern. There were a few tricky parts, like the steeking. She just provided one video of her own for steeking, but I watched like 3 or 4 on YouTube, just like typed in how to steek a cardigan and sew it with a sewing machine. Like, that was how I was steeking it. Because I know there's other ways, like you can felt it, or I don't know. There's probably a million ways that I don't know about, but I was seeing felted or crocheting or machine sewing. So once I realized that there are multiple ways to steek, I went on YouTube and then typed in machine sewn steeking. So definitely would recommend doing that if you're going to try steeking. Now I feel confident in steeking. Not super confident, but more than I did the first time. So I know I can make a colorwork cardigan in the future and steek that instead of having to do colorwork flat. Like, I want to knit it in the round. So very, very excited about that and so happy with how this turned out. The next finished object I have to show you is a pair of socks. These are a basic vanilla sock, and they're knit up in Sorella. She did a Disney, was it Disney General or Disneyland? I want to say it was a Disneyland collection, and this is the color Neverland in their Stellina sock. So you can see the gold flecks throughout, and it totally reminds me of Peter Pan or Neverland. And then this green is just some leftover Malabrigo that I had to do the toe. So this is just a vanilla sock pattern, one that I use over and over and over. After making quite a few pairs of socks, I've just come up with my own like recipe or pattern that I really enjoy, and that's what this is. One of my favorite things to do with the cuff of a sock lately is knitting like 3 rounds in stockinette and then doing the ribbing, so you get this cute little rollover effect. So that is like my favorite thing at the moment for socks. In the last knitting podcast, I showed you a green sock that I was working on that I was doing like a waffly-ish texture on it. Well, that I was dragging on so much, and then I realized it was because I was bored and I didn't want to make it. So I unraveled that sock, and then within one day I finished like more than half of the first sock of this. So clearly I was not in the mood to knit that other sock because I finished these very, very quickly. But I love how fun they are. They're very nautical looking to me too, this blue and then like seaweed green, but I'm very excited to wear these with Birks. I love wearing socks and Birks together so you can see them, but then your feet still stay warm. So when it cools down, catch me wearing these with my Birkenstocks. Okay, the next thing that I did knit since we last talked was kind of a flop, but I used the Eddie Bauer wool paca in the olive green color to knit a swatch for the korshavn. Please be kind about my pronunciation. But the cardigan. So here's my swatch. And I'm not that impressed with my swatch. I don't love how big the holes are in the basket weave pattern. And I even went down to needle size because I started the swatch with the needle size they recommended and it seemed super loose. So I went down a needle size and it's still pretty loose. And I didn't even check if I met gauge because I'm really not into the look of these holes. So I'm going to put this yarn aside for now while I decide what I want to do. I can either do that petiteknit cardigan, maybe I'll knit a swatch for the petiteknit cardigan and see how it turns out. Or the other option I was thinking of is buying mohair and holding it with this and redoing this swatch to see how it turns out. But again, I don't love having mohair in every single sweater that I knit, and then I also don't really want to buy more yarn. So this project for now is on hold, but I thought I'd show you that swatch anyway. The yarn's beautiful. Love this green. Goes with my green shirt per usual. Always loving the greens per usual. But yeah, this is gonna be put on hold for the time being. A very exciting and new project that I'm working on is spinning. I don't have very much done, but earlier this week I took a drop spindle class. So it was at Fiber Rhythm in Portland, Oregon, and it was so much fun. It was 2 hours one-on-one with my lovely teacher named Susan, and she taught me so much about spinning with the drop spindle and just all the steps it takes to create yarn. And I took so many notes, and then we got to practice together, and then she had brought yarn that was ready to be plied, so we practiced plying the yarn together, and she taught me so many tips and tricks. So this is all I have done so far on my drop spindle, and I have to show you this fiber. It's huge. Let's see, I'll take it out. So here is the fiber that I bought while I was there. They had a whole fiber wall when I was looking around the store, and I had emailed Susan previously before my class, and she asked if I already had fiber, but I didn't. I did have this drop spindle already because I thought I was going to teach myself since I taught myself to knit, but it just felt too hard trying to teach myself how to spin, and I've been self-taught for knitting this entire time, so I really wanted to take a class and just see how it went instead. So I already had this from when I thought I was going to teach myself how to spin, but I'd never bought fiber because I never got around to teaching myself how to spin. So when we were there, she walked around the store with me and explained, this thing is huge, it's like a baby. I posted a photo on my Instagram story saying I was holding my fiber baby. Okay, packing up. We emailed before class. She asked if I had all the supplies needed. I told her I needed fiber. So we walked around the Fiber Rhythm store and she explained all the differences in all the fibers and which ones are good for beginners, and even told me how much fiber she would buy if she was trying to make a sweater, how much fiber she would buy if she was making a hat or mittens. So very, very knowledgeable. And this is the one I ended up going with. It's from Ashford and it's New Zealand wool, but I'm not sure exactly. I'll find the link to it and I'll put it in the information, so that way if you want to look this up you can see it. But I will be quite busy for quite a while with this and I'm really enjoying it so far. Susan recommended that I practice at least 10 minutes a day every day until I get the hang of it. So I have been going off of her recommendation and trying to practice at least 10 minutes. But once I start, it usually ends up being longer than that because it's so much fun. And her other big tip for me was once I make the yarn, to knit something with it immediately and don't just put it away in my yarn cabinet stash. So that way I can see if I like how it's looking when I spun it up. And I thought that was great advice because she said then if you think, like, first of all, this first round is not going to be great because there's so much inconsistencies in my spinning, like the thickness of it. But she said as you get better and you get more consistent, you'll want to knit stuff immediately or crochet, whatever your project is, just to see how the yarn is looking when you actually knit it up. And then she said there are tips and tricks that you can do if you don't like how your fabric is knitting up. Like maybe you need to spin it tighter, or when you ply it, it's not plied enough or spun enough during the plying process. So lots and lots of tips, but my main takeaways were to practice at least 10 minutes a day as I'm getting the hang of it. Oh, this was a big one from Susan. That fiber and yarn, we all spend, not we all, but a lot of us spend a lot of money on our craft because yarn can get pricey and fiber can get pricey. But she kept telling me they're not precious. You still need to enjoy it. And if you mess something up, like don't beat yourself up about it because you spent money on it. You can reuse it in some other way. She said she's making stuffies for her grandchildren and all her scraps from spinning or knitting, she's using that to stuff the stuffed animals. So that was another main takeaway. It's not so precious, and we may already know that, but I like sometimes if I don't like a project or feel like I messed up, it's like, oh, but I spent so much money on this. But it's not precious. It's gonna be okay. Practice 10 minutes a day at the beginning, at least. And then once I finish the whole process and ply it, knit something with it right away and just see how it goes. I feel like I'll end up making a beanie once I get there. But it was so much fun. I really enjoyed going. I had a great time talking with her. She knew so much. We even talked about spinning wheels, and she was telling me if I think I want to buy a bunch of drop spindles, just hold off and use the one I have for as long as I can and then save my money for a spinning wheel. Because if you're a knitter with a capital K, you might end up becoming a spinner with a capital S if you really, really, really enjoy it. So that was a great, great, great experience. And if you live in the Portland, Oregon area or outside of it at all, where it's close enough to drive in, I would totally recommend taking a class with Susan at Fiber Rhythm. She said that they have wheel spinning classes coming up and you're able to rent the wheels from them so you can try a bunch of different ones. So if you ever think you're going to buy a wheel and you live in the area, I would recommend going to the classes and you get to try out all the wheels if you're going to eventually purchase one. So yeah, that was a really, really fun experience and activity. Okay, the next item I want to show you that I'm working on is a work in progress, and it is an Oslo hat by petiteknit. This is the first Oslo hat I'm making. I think this is the mohair edition. I don't know. All I know is this is the one for sport weight yarn. She has a couple different versions. So this is the one for sport weight yarn, and I am knitting this with KNITS & Co. Chickadee yarn, and it's the color Slate. So this is the Oslo hat. I just got to the point of knitting the brim together. So this is folded double, and then you'll knit the cast on edge with the live stitches. So I just got to that point, and now I need to just knit a ton more until I get to the crown decreases. So this has been a great project when it's super hot out and I still want to knit, but I don't want to have a sweater like sitting on my lap. So really enjoying this. I love this navy color. I feel like the color is showing up really accurate. Yeah, looks exactly like this in person. Love this color. It's gonna be great once it cools down. Okay, I need to stop saying that. It's hot and I'm over it. So we all know that. I'm over the summer heat and I'm ready for fall, but I am enjoying making this. The next item I'm working on is the Guernsey Genser by Sandnes Garn, and I haven't gotten very far. You can see my stitch marker there, marking the right side, but this is, I've just finished the moss stitch and barely started the chart. So haven't gotten super far on this, but I started it like pretty quickly after finishing my cardigan because I wanted to start another sweater right away. So that's what I'm working on sweater wise. And I'm knitting this up in Sandnes Garn Double Sunday and holding it with drops, their mohair. So this is just in the color natural and this is the color putty, but it's just a really pretty off-white, a cooler white, and then the mohair is a warmer white, and I think they look good together. So I don't have much to say about that yet, other than when I went on Ravelry and noticed that Sandnes Garn had posted a correction to one of the charts for the pattern. So if you're gonna make this, I would go on Ravelry and print out the correction chart. It's just on the project page, and then they have a link in the description of the project page showing that there's a correction. There's one in English on there, so I would print that out. That way you have the right chart and everything will work out. But so far, going well. I don't have anything to say because I just barely started it, but I have been wanting to make this sweater for over a year, almost probably a year and a half now, if not longer. So I'm really, really excited that I'm finally making it. What are you working on? Is there anything you're working on that you've been wanting to make for a long time, or what's something you've been wanting to make for a long time that you haven't gotten around to? I'm very curious to hear those, like the dream projects that you always think about but then don't work on, because I definitely do that. There's this and the Billy cardigan from Nordland. I've been wanting to make both of these for years, but for some reason every time I think about making it or I get close to it, I just don't. So it doesn't make sense, but let me know if you have one of those types of projects as well. I have two more things to show you. One is a sock and the other is some yarn that I got. I'm gonna save the sock for last because I'm really excited about it. So I went thrifting about a week and a half ago and I unexpectedly found yarn. I feel like it's really rare that I find yarn at my local Goodwill when I'm thrifting, but I found so much, and it's definitely a knitter who donated it because some of the yarn was already caked up. So it's in these bags, which I'll take one out and show it to you. See? A knitter definitely donated this. There are so many cakes. Okay, here's one that hasn't been caked up yet that I can show you. This is the Plymouth Yarn Baby Alpaca Grande. And I looked it up online, and this is the color chambray. And then the white, I think, is called, the plain white is called natural, I believe. So this and the white were in a giant plastic bag on like a lower shelf and I saw it out of the corner of my eye and I was like, that looks like nicer yarn. It doesn't look like, mostly what I find at my Goodwill is like yarn that you could get at Joann's, and then their pricing, it ends up costing more at Goodwill than if you just bought it at Joann. So anyway, but I saw this in the bag and was thinking that looks really, really nice. I think that's probably expensive yarn. So I grabbed the bag and I was trying to find the label because they were all just jumbled in there. And then once I found the label, I Googled it, and lo and behold, this is $20 each from what I found. So one of these is $20. Guess how many I got? There were 12 skeins, either caked up or like this, in the bag. So I think I have five white and 7 of the blue all in one bag, and it was being sold for $10. That's it! $10 for all of that yarn. I could have spent $240 and I got it for 10. So now I'm very, very excited to make this into a sweater or something. But I'm thinking I'll do stripes or color work since I have more of the blue and then a little bit of the white. And I'm really, really excited to make that into something eventually. For now, I'm storing it in plastic bags and I already froze it overnight. So I'll put it in plastic bags, airtight. So like these Ziploc bags, and then put it in the freezer for at least 24 hours, and then that will kill any bacteria or anything. And then I'll just knit with it as is and wash it as I normally would when I block something. So very, very excited about that yarn find at the thrift store. I don't find yarn often at the thrift store, but the fact that that's what I found when I did find yarn at the thrift store, it's worth the wait. So I just have to be patient, and every now and then I'll find a gem like that. But I'm really, really, really excited to make something with that. Now, for the grand finale of what I have to show you that I've been working on, it is a pair of socks. I have fully finished the first sock, and I am working on the second sock. And let me show you. I feel so giddy and nervous to show you. Okay, here it is. So this has not been blocked yet, so it's a little lumpy. So here is the pumpkins. The pumpkins and the vine, and then on this one I did orange for the toe and the heel. And again, I have that little cuff at the top where I knit 3 stitches and let it roll down and then do the ribbing. But here it is. I'm very excited about this, and the reason I feel giddy and nervous to show everyone is because I designed this. I designed the sock and the colorwork chart. This is my first time ever trying to make a colorwork chart for myself or otherwise, and I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. I wanted some pumpkin socks that were more fall and not giving Halloween. I wanted these to just be for fall. I have a pair of jack-o'-lantern socks that are very Halloween-y, and I wanted some fall socks with pumpkins. So here they are, and these are knit with, the main color is Knit Pick Stroll Tweed. So here it is. I think I have, yeah, here we go. It's Knit Pick Stroll Tweed in the color Oyster Heather. It's really, really pretty. I love all the tweed flecks, and this is how the tweed looks once you knit it up. Kind of reminds me of like chocolate chip ice cream in a way. But I wanted a tweed because that seems very fall to me. And then pumpkins. So the orange is Malabrigo sock yarn. I can't remember what color. I'll make sure to add it in for you. And then the green is also Malabrigo. I think this is the color Lettuce, I want to say. So finished the first sock, and here is the second one. I just got to the pumpkins on the second one. And on this sock, I think I'm going to do the heel and the toe green. So they like go together, but they're kind of mismatched. I think it'll be really cute. I am considering trying to write up the pattern and selling it. So let me know in the comments what you think. I think that'll be really fun. I had a blast designing the colorwork chart, and I just love it. I love it so much, and I feel so proud of myself for doing it. So let me know what you think, and I can try to write up a knitting pattern, which would be really fun. Okay, that is everything that I have to show you today. I hope you're having a great day and a great week. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. Also, my Instagram, if you're looking to follow me for more day-to-day stuff, it's at Erica Taylor Creative on Instagram. And also, thank you to everyone who watched my last knitting podcast. Oh my gosh, it got so many more views than I ever expected, and I really appreciate it. It's so kind. I'm having so much fun sharing all my projects with you. I'd love to know what you're working on, and let me know what your like dream knit is, if you've made it already or if you haven't, because it's so fun to knit the stuff that we've been dreaming of knitting for a long time. Thank you so much for watching.